In the far east of Russia, there's a road that stretches for over 1,260 miles. It leads to some of the richest gold mines on Earth. But this road isn't paved with asphalt. It's built on the bones of an estimated 250,000 prisoners who died building it. They call it the R504 Kolyma Highway, but it's better known as the Road of Bones. And the most chilling part? The Siberian permafrost made proper burials impossible, so the dead became part of the very foundation of the road they were forced to build. Today, the Kolyma Highway is a federal road, a lifeline cutting through 2,000 kilometers of the desolate Russian Far East, connecting the cities of Yakutsk and Magadan. The landscape here is beyond inhospitable. For much of the year, this is a world of subarctic cold, where winter temperatures regularly plunge to -50 degrees Celsius. The road winds through a stunning but brutal expanse of frozen wasteland, dense taiga forests, and mountains. It's a place of profound isolation. But this road was never about connecting communities. It was built for one reason: greed. In the early 20th century, Soviet geologists discovered that the Kolyma region, a territory previously ignored, was rich with natural resources, unfathomably rich. Beneath the frozen soil lay vast reserves of gold, silver, and tin. Under Joseph Stalin's first 5-year plan, the Soviet Union was in a frantic push to industrialize. This required capital and technology from the West, and gold was the currency that could buy it all. The problem? Kolyma was one of the most remote and inaccessible places on the planet. There was no infrastructure, just a brutal wilderness. So a decision was made. A road would be built. A road to haul the wealth of Kolyma out of the ground and finance the future of the Soviet state. The human cost of that decision was deemed irrelevant. The project was handed to a special organization called the Dalstroy, or the Far North Construction Trust, established in 1931. By 1938, it was placed directly under the control of the NKVD, Stalin's secret police. Dalstroy's purpose was simple: manage the road construction and the mining. And its workforce? That would be supplied by the Gulag. The Gulag was Stalin's vast system of forced labor camps that held millions. They were political dissidents, intellectuals, artists, and countless ordinary citizens arrested on fabricated charges, many simply branded enemies of the people. Their journey to Kolyma was an odyssey of suffering. After an arrest, they were packed onto the Trans-Siberian Railway to the port of Vladivostok. From there, they spent a week crammed into the dark, unventilated cargo holds of ships to the new port of Magadan, the gateway to the Kolyma camps. From Magadan, they were marched or trucked along the very road they were about to build. Construction began in 1932. The conditions were medieval. Prisoners were given primitive tools: hand saws, pickaxes, shovels, and wheelbarrows. They were forced to work 12 to 14-hour days, hacking through insect-infested swamps in the brief summer and chipping at frozen earth in winters so cold that steel pickaxes would shatter on impact. Work was only canceled if the temperature dropped below -55 degrees Celsius. Food was tied to impossible work quotas. Failure meant less food, which meant less strength, making the next day's quota even harder. It was a deliberate cycle of attrition. This brutal philosophy was summed up by Naftali Frenkel, one of the architects of the Gulag system, who said, "We have to squeeze everything out of a prisoner in the first 3 months. After that, we don't need him anymore." Death was a constant, casual presence. When a worker collapsed, there was no time for a proper burial. The permafrost was as hard as rock. So the guards devised a monstrously practical solution. The bodies were simply buried directly into the road's foundation, their corpses mixed with gravel and soil. While precise figures are impossible to verify, estimates of the death toll range from tens of thousands to as many as 1 million people. The name Road of Bones isn't poetry, it's a literal description. The road wasn't the end of the journey. It was the artery that fed a network of around 80 separate Gulag camps spread throughout the Kolyma region. If the road was hell, the camps were its deepest circles. Here, the sole purpose was extraction. Prisoners mined for gold, tin, and even uranium. They lived in flimsy, overcrowded, and often unheated barracks. Violence from criminal prisoners was a part of daily life. In the summer, swarms of mosquitoes were thick enough to fill bowls. In winter, the relentless, soul-crushing cold was the primary executioner. Escape was pure fantasy. The camps were located in one of the most isolated regions on Earth, surrounded by thousands of kilometers of impenetrable wilderness. There was simply nowhere to run. It's for this reason that Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the great chronicler of the Gulag, called Kolyma the Pole of cold and cruelty. The statistics from this era are staggering. Some estimates suggest that 75 to 80% of prisoners died within their first year of arrival. The bodies were disposed of with brutal efficiency, dumped into communal pits or mass graves hastily dug when the ground thawed. Kolyma was a death sentence, a place from which very few returned. Survivors were so rare they were seen as people who had miraculously escaped from the underworld. After Stalin's death in 1953, the Gulag system was gradually dismantled and the Kolyma camps were officially closed over the following years. Construction of the highway itself had been largely completed by 1952, after 20 years of relentless labor. The mining, however, continued with paid laborers, many of whom were former prisoners with nowhere else to go. Today, traveling the Kolyma Highway is a haunting experience. While the main route is federally maintained, much of it remains an unpaved gravel track, infamous for shredding tires. In summer, corrosive dust clouds can blind drivers, and after heavy rain, sections can become impassable mud pits. There's no mobile phone reception for vast stretches, and the nearest hospital can be hundreds of kilometers away. Along this route, the past is both everywhere and nowhere. The landscape is dotted with the shells of abandoned villages, derelict gulag barracks, and crumbling watchtowers. Towns like Kadykchan, once thriving mining communities, are now ghost towns that emptied out after the Soviet Union's collapse. But the collective memory of what happened here is fading. Younger generations often know little about the atrocities committed in their own backyard. The road is now more famous among adventure motorcyclists as a bucket list challenge than as a mass grave. Monuments to the victims do exist. The most famous is the Mask of Sorrow, a powerful 15-meter-high sculpture in Magadan commemorating all who suffered and died in the Kolyma camps. But on the road itself, memorials to recent car crash victims are now more common than tributes to the hundreds of thousands who built it. The Kolyma Highway stands as a brutal monument. It's a road over 1,200 miles long that leads to mountains of gold, built on the foundation of countless human souls. It is a testament to the staggering cruelty humanity is capable of in the pursuit of power and wealth. As you travel its length through some of the most stunningly beautiful scenery on Earth, you are driving over one of the largest mass graves in history. The bones are invisible, buried beneath layers of gravel and permafrost, but they are there, a silent, permanent reminder of the price that was paid, a story of suffering written into the very land itself. The stories of places like this are in constant danger of being forgotten. If you believe in the importance of keeping this history alive so that we may learn from it, please consider sharing this story and subscribing for more that explore the hidden corners of our past. Thank you for watching.